It was racing though, it was going so fast. Unique, you know. No, I can't even say it. Unique, New York. Unique, New York. Red rum, Vanity Fair. I don't know, no. The Human Torch couldn't get a bank loan. The Human Torch couldn't get a bank loan. They're coming in the back door. Save them, save the children. There are thousands of design elements that can be included in your space, some of them incredible, and other ones really make me question your life decisions. Today I'm going to go through some of the design elements and decor pieces that I would never include in my home as an interior designer and why. I also feel like this is going to be a huge part series, so stay with me because I have so many that's going to be included on this because there's a lot. Welcome back to my channel. If you've not met me before, my name is Phoenix Gray, aka Design Daddy, and this channel is all about design. You can also join my free design newsletter in the description box below where I answer all the most commonly asked interior design questions. Quick disclaimer, this is just my professional opinion, so take it as you will, but you're here to learn from your design dad, so listen up. First on the list, and probably one of the biggest offenders in my opinion, is the oversized recliners and the oversized sofas. They are so big that they require cup holders. Don't get me wrong, these are really cute and all, but they're not designed for your everyday living for your home space because they don't look that great to begin with. One of the primary reasons that oversized furniture is often a design misstep is the tendency to disrupt the proportions and flow of an entire room. Like, I'm talking huge. I have seen some of these sofas that are just so big that it looks like the entire room is just sofa. When the furniture is out of scale in a space, it can really make a room feel cramped and unbalanced. Imagine a room that is dominated by an enormous sofa or an overly large dining table set. These pieces are not meant to be the stars of the show in the room, and although they should be an anchoring point, this is just not what I mean. These pieces can overshadow other design elements, throwing off the visual harmony that you strive for. This I know is just a hot take because we all love those lazy boys, and honestly, they have a cult following, which I get. Don't get me wrong, they are comfortable as hell, but there's a way to do this properly. Large pieces make it challenging to reconfigure the layout according to the different needs or even the occasions that you have that your rooms are set up for. The room becomes less adaptable, hindering your ability to really create practical seating arrangements, making the space feel like its only purpose is to get lost in. Honestly, the major problem with them is that they can unintentionally become the sole focus of a room rather than blending into the rest of the decor. These massive pieces really dominate the visual landscape, overshadowing other design elements, making your space feel really cramped. And honestly, it's not the look that you're going for because it's going to really make you feel uneasy in a space. If you have the luxury of having a second living room, I get it because not everyone can, and you feel like these enormous pieces are necessary, this is where I would have them, and you can have your TV room that is completely separate as a primary space, and then you can have your other areas set up as formal seating area for your guests and entertaining. This way you can still enjoy them comfortably while they're more or less out of the way and don't largely impact the rest of your home's design. Second on the docket, because this is another hot take, is the main challenge that people have with barn doors is how they can really disrupt the overall cohesion with your design. And typically they fall under a design style that doesn't work with your space, hence the name barn. While they are a super unique feature to have, their distinct style might clash with the other design elements in your home. Achieving a seamless flow between rooms becomes tricky as barn doors can really feel disconnected from the rest of the design of your overall home and the style that you're really trying to achieve interior design-wise. They end up looking really out of place and drawing a lot more attention to them, and the real importance is taken away from the rest of the features in the space. I see so many people use these for their powder rooms to save space since their sliding feature is really ideal for cramped spaces. However, out of all the places to compromise privacy, a bathroom is absolutely not one of them. I don't know if you've ever used a bathroom with a barn door, but it honestly feels like you're in a public bathroom with no acoustics and no privacy because there is always going to be that gap that makes you feel uneasy in a real space that you need privacy. Unlike traditional doors that seal off the space, barn doors leave gaps that are pretty large between the actual hardware and the sliding door function of the wall. The reason they have this is so it doesn't scuff up the wall and the baseboards, which is understandable, but at the end of the day, that extra gap is not great for these spaces. These are really not ideal for even bedrooms or private areas in general where a quiet, enclosed environment is needed. The last thing your guests want is you to hear them and their upset stomach for not making a great meal that you cook for them they're over. Wall space, all space. Functionality is a key aspect of design, and barn doors might not always be the practical choice. They require a large wall space to slide open, which can really be a challenge in smaller rooms or layouts, which is the complete opposite and hindrance of what people think that they're used for. Which can be a challenge in smaller rooms or layouts, even if you have limited wall areas. Chances are you're pretty limited to room to begin with, and you're losing all that wall space for an artwork or mirror that can really make your space feel more cramped. So at the end of the day, it's just like butting heads. The sliding mechanisms can sometimes be inconvenient or awkward to use, since they're usually super large and heavy, making them less user-friendly compared to traditional hinges or even a knob that most people would prefer. So while barn doors can certainly add that touch of rustic charm to your home, if it's not the vibe you're going for, it's really essential to weigh out their aesthetics versus the actual appeal and the practicality with the potential design disruptions. If you are lacking space and want to consider a space-saving option, I will always recommend going for a pocket door. Hear me out, I know pocket doors can be initially expensive, especially if you are doing a renovation or if you want to add them in. Trust me, they are so worth it in the long run to have them because they have that timeless appeal, especially with the expansiveness that they add to a space visually. With them being open or closed, it just creates a really seamless look that transitions from room to room. Third on the list is another one that I'm gonna get some hate for, but my main hesitation when it comes to sofa beds is the fact that they are often chosen between form and function. Since you rarely find one that has both, this is a major issue. While as a whole, they do offer the convenience that is needed, their aesthetic appeal is often lacking and severely underwhelming. And if I'm being honest, super uncomfortable. Comfort is a crucial factor when it comes to selecting the right seating and sleeping furniture pieces. Sofa beds, while serving two functions, usually fall short on comfort in one or both aspects. The mattress might not offer the actual level of support that you need or cushioning of a regular bed, while the sofa seating might not even provide the same relaxation and lounge appropriation that a proper sofa will. This is a true testament to you really cannot have it all. And I warn you, do not go for a sofa bed. You are going to regret every second of it, and it's really gonna not last you very long. While sofa beds are really seemingly ideal for space-saving options, they really can present challenges in smaller rooms. The transition from sofa to bed might require extra space in front or behind, which can really limit it in tight spaces. The amount of times I've seen a sofa bed open and it really goes from wall to wall that there is no leg space anywhere. I'm 6'4" and barely have any room to fit in my bed. My feet are always off the edge to begin with. So on a sofa bed, this is just completely out of the question because if I even have my feet dangling, there's no room whatsoever for these. As simple as they sound, these furniture pieces are also quite intricate with lots of moving parts, meaning that over time the mechanisms really wear out, affecting the ease of transition between sofa and bed, and most of the time they're going to be falling apart, or the amount of maintenance and repairs that are required are more complex and costly compared to regular sofas to begin with. We've all had one of those spring beds that felt like it was either going to snap open or crush you when it springs out. I don't know about you, but I always visited my grandmother when I was younger and I had to sleep on the sofa bed because I was the biggest one. It was not cute. It was a battle to put it in and out every single time. It was a battle to put it in and out every time. Always. It's really important to weigh out their benefits against the potential compromises in the design, comfort, and the functionality. Not everything you use has to serve multiple functions, and keep that in mind, especially for small spaces. Most of the time, one piece cannot do two things very well whatsoever. It'll do two things kind of mediocre. At the end of the day, it's going to disappoint you twice as much. As a solution though, if you do require extra area for if you do have guests stay over, I would recommend going for a deeper set sofa. That way there's plenty of room to actually lounge without compromising the actual comfort. Because let's be honest, there is no such thing as a comfortable sofa bed, and if you had a good night's sleep on one, you're probably under the age of 25. The ergonomics of these are really not designed for us regular folk. You're going to have a better night's sleep if you're on the floor instead. Number 4 on the docket are live edge pieces with resin. I know this is going to be another shocker. People either love or hate them. While the combination of these natural wood and modern resins can really be visually stunning and they are so beautiful to look at, there are really some important factors to consider before incorporating these into your home. For one, these are super trendy now. These trendy things rush in and leave just as quickly, if not twice as fast, before you end up being sick of them. And most of the time, these pieces are quite expensive. Live edge furniture with resin is really unique because it brings together contrasting elements, blending this raw beauty with almost this natural wood and the sleekness and contemporary aspects of resin. However, like I say, keep that in mind. The juxtaposition of this organic and industrial aesthetic can sometimes really clash rather than create harmony in your space. These furniture pieces also require special care and maintenance. Resin can be sensitive, and temperature changes and even UV exposure can potentially lead them to yellowing or cracking over time. And with the price that you're spending on them, that's the last thing you want. Trust me on this, I've seen some discolored resin and it is not cute. Having that yellowness that bleeds through the entire look of it really ruins it. And don't get me wrong, you can polish these off, but depending on how much the UV actually burns into the resin itself, it ends up ruining the entire piece because you can't buff it out. I bashed the resin, now I'm gonna bash the wood. And honestly, oh, bash the wood. Bat the wood? Beat the wood? No, we can't say beat the wood, can we? When it comes to the wood itself with the resin, it requires its own level of maintenance as well. Natural wood is beautiful and stunning, but it does require oiling and actual cleaning to maintain it to looking really well done. And because you're contrasting those two elements of the super contemporary resin and that rustic look of the wood, it really ends up clashing and contrasting with the overall space and the design. Even the chairs that you put around it are really difficult to actually have a beautiful composition. If you do like this resin look and you decide to use in your home, I would consider the quality of the resin. It can also be considered self-healing with some of the superficial scratches. Keep that in mind that the higher quality also means higher the price tag, without adding more visual clutter. We're a little more than halfway through, and I'm gonna say it because it needs to be said. Mass-produced artwork lacks all originality and personality, and your home should reflect you and your personal, unique style and taste. If you have some of these from HomeGoods or HomeSense and they're just on your walls to fill up space, to me, it tells me that you don't have any style. That was harsh. Can I say that? Is that okay, Brody? Maybe? No? Okay. We're gonna say it anyways because I'm gonna be gutting at this one. But let me give you some guidance on to actually make it look better in your space. Design impact really matters, and mass-produced art typically falls short. No, it always falls short. It always falls short of every aspect. These pieces are often created with a broad audience in mind, which might not align with specific color themes or actually moods in the space. And honestly, most of the time they give me, my child made this in preschool art class and I just got to put it up on the walls. Original art has a timeless quality that withstands changing design trends. On the other hand, mass-produced artwork can quickly look dated, and these pieces often mimic of whatever trend is happening in the moment, which is not great for your space because that's where you get sick of them in so short amount of time, and that's when you want to replace them. That's why these trendy pieces don't end up working out. And I think we all know the ones I'm talking about, those like abstract ones that like, they look like absolutely nothing. They could be a barren landscape, or my personal favorite, the cow photo that you have seen everywhere. Brody, you're gonna add in this image of the picture that I took of you, beside because you have the same haircut. You know, the one that goes like this? It looks like it's like an emo cut. It has been in HomeSense and HomeGoods for years, and I've never actually seen one in a person's home, but they're always there. One of the best joys of art is the emotional connection that it creates, and mass-produced pieces really evoke no emotion or feeling that you can actually have to investing in original arts by talented artists. When you include artwork in your space, the most important tip I can give to you is actually support a living artist. The ones of the past really do not need your hard-earned money. There are so many local artists that can be found, even on Etsy, that are willing to make something custom and unique and specific for your home. All you have to do is inquire. I used to paint back in the day, although I still consider myself technically an artist. When I had inquiries asking about pieces, the amount of joy that I had from someone reaching out to even think or consider me to having me create a piece for their home, it was the most sense of joy and happiness I've ever had in my entire life. And you're investing in my talent and my joy. So keep that in mind when you find an artist's work that actually resonates with you. It makes a world of a difference because you never know what is coming out from their life and what they're going through. A piece you could buy at the end of the day is a substantial investment, and you really never know. One day that artist could progress down the line and you may be spent $1,000 on that piece, it could be worth 3 or 10 times that amount down the line. So keep that in mind, because it is so important to invest your time and money into living artists that are willing to make something custom and just for you. Glossy or unlacquered furniture undeniably catches the eye when it comes to reflective surfaces. However, these reflections can also be overwhelming, bouncing light around the room and potentially causing visual discomfort when it actually is used incorrectly. I'm gonna say it, this very much aligns with the same hatred that I have for mirrored furniture. Can you say hate? You know what? I would have said strongly dislike, but I do really hate mirrored furniture. And this very much aligns with that whole look. And the maintenance of these is really over the top, and it's a nightmare. Fingerprints, smudges, and even scratches are more noticeable on all of these surfaces, making them more high maintenance and more time consuming to keep them looking pristine. And it also applies to high gloss paint for all you DIYers out there. As beautiful as it looks, it's not always giving the look that you want it to do because you haven't looked at it the wrong way yet. If you look at it with a cross eye, a scratch is going to appear out of nowhere. As an interior designer, I value the design of versatility and the aspects that adapt to a space over time, and glossy and lacquered furniture can limit this flexibility. As their specific style might not always mesh well with the evolving design themes, over time the allure of these high gloss sheens might diminish, leaving you with a very dated look and lots of effort to really upkeep them and they're in great condition. Once again, this is another trend that has been up and coming and it's going to fizzle out just as much, and it seems that all I'm doing is hating on trends, which is not always true because my next video is going to be on trends that I like. Trust me, I am always here for that. The style of these high reflective surfaces always come in and out, but they are always short-lived. Another point of concern is the environmental impact of glossy, unlacquered furniture pieces and even the paints. Many lacquers with these finishes contains high VOCs, which are known as pretty much volatile organic compounds. Can you have like a breakdown of that? I feel like that would be pretty cool in the video. Volatile organic compounds. And the reason with these is that they really affect your health, especially the quality of them and actually inhaling them. If you are doing anything with a high gloss, please do it outside or at least in a well-ventilated areas because it is toxic to inhale, and the off-gassing of these paints linger for far longer than standard paint finishes. So off-gassing means you need to have it in a well-ventilated area for at least a week at a time if you really want it to not give off that toxic scent. Glass dining tables and even coffee tables I'm categorizing the same. While these sleek surfaces can provide an airy feel to your space, there are several significant considerations to bear in mind before actually incorporating these into your home. Glass tabletops are super popular in offering that level of lightness, which aids to making a room feel more open and spacious. So yes, I can see why someone would highly recommend one of these pieces, especially if you have a small space, but at the end of the day, it can make your space feel a little bit more cramped. This transparency can sometimes backfire as the table usually blends in with its surrounding elements, and being able to see right through it really disconnects you from that distinct presence that most of these tables need in your space.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to kill it.
The transparency can usually backfire, and the table can actually blend into the surroundings, losing its distinct presence, and getting a nice view of your guest's crotch at dinner is not usually on the menu unless that's something you ordered. These surfaces also demand meticulous maintenance to stay pristine. Like I said on those reflective surfaces, fingerprints, watermarks, dust, everything is going to be more noticeable, requiring frequent cleaning to keep the table even looking its best. And don't even get me started if you have pets and kids. This is an absolute cleaning nightmare because you are going to see like dirty, smudgy fingerprints that you don't even know where they came from. The glass tables are also more susceptible for scratching, and some people say otherwise, but trust me, they still scratch. The wear and tear on these is so complete opposite of natural materials and making it almost impossible to actually repair or clean unless you send it out to get professionally done. Most tempered glass you end up having to have an auto body expert to fix if you have one of those deep gouges. I have scratched one with a ring before. Like even just dropping cutlery on it is an absolute nightmare. And trust me, if you end up bringing these to a mechanic, they're gonna overcharge you just like they would your car. Consider the potential for daily use, especially in dining and workspaces. Glass is not always the most durable option. Also, I cannot be alone here, but if I hear the sound of glass being dragged across a glass surface, honestly, it is like nails on chalkboard. It's important to remember that when it comes to designing your living spaces, function should not only be the guiding principle. While the aesthetics are undoubtedly important, a well-designed space should enhance your lifestyle, cater to your needs, and provide you with a comfortable and practical living environment. The key term being practical. This is literally why I'm here. Remember, the best design is the one that seemingly integrates form and function, reflecting your unique personality while supporting the way that you live. So whether you're choosing furniture and decor or layouts, always ask yourself how it contributes to the usability and environment of your space. That's all, folks. Can I say that? Is Warner Brothers gonna sue me? Regardless if they sue me or not, be sure to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok for all my daily design advice and Mr. Phoenix Gray. And remember, if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do? 2 thumbs up.